Good morning, and welcome to the Women's Coffee Club. I'm so excited this morning. We have our presenter Binta here, but thank you again for coming here. We created this club to provide a safe space for women to share and inspire each other. And Binta has been with this group from the very beginning. So grateful for you, Binta. Her topic is she wants to have this casual and fun conversation about influential people in your life. And so I'm so excited about the topic again, Binta. If you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your background and why you decided to choose this topic. And if you can allow time, well, it's a fun interactive process. I guess I don't have to remind you to only do it for 30 minutes since it's going to be a conversation. So go ahead.
I've got my clock set for 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and then I'll stop.
That's good. Yeah, I just want to allow time at the end for Q&A.
Yes,
Go
yes.
ahead, Binta.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here and to allow me to share a little bit of my story. And I'm so grateful to see so many faces here, and thank you. I chose this topic about outside of your family, who are the people that have the biggest influence in your life, because I believe in my heart that I wouldn't be sitting here today speaking to you if I didn't have people who influenced me, who gave me courage to look at myself in a different light. So that's why I chose that topic. Before I go into that and start speaking about naming those people, I want to give you a little bit of a story about myself. First of all, I'm from Gambia, West Africa. I was born and raised in Gambia, West Africa, but I live in New Orleans. I came to New Orleans and I met my husband here, so I live here. I have a small business and I create products that nourish people from the inside out. I won't talk about that, but that's what I do. I love to create products that serve people well. But to give you a little background about myself, is I grew up back home. I was born and raised in Gambia, West Africa. And growing up in Africa, little girls, they didn't have any future. In those days anyway. Now it's getting a little better, but in those days, you were born into a family and you basically like prepared to get married as soon as you become a marriage age, as soon as you become a woman to get married. And that's how I was raised. School was not important for little girls. School was more for boys than girls. So that is the way I was raised. And as soon as I was a teenager, I was raised from two very loving families, two very loving parents who really care about me, but they couldn't give me education. So as soon as I was a teenager, I had to go to the city to look for work, to be a maid. And that is what I did. And I will, in the beginning, I will go look for work and then I'll run back home. I would run back home and start crying to my mother and father. And my mother would say to my dad, "Oh, don't worry, she'll go back. Just give her time, she'll go back." And I did that several times. And finally, I was able to go and stick with it and work for local people, like local Gambian people. I worked for, I can't even tell you. But then time came when I was like, you know what? I don't want to work for local people. I want to go work for the diplomats. There's a section in my city, in the city that I live, where the diplomats live, like Americans, the American ambassador, the British, just like the diplomat, people who I call wealthy people, and beautiful houses. So I said, I'm gonna go to those areas and look for work. And the way you look for work, when you're a maid, you go from house to house, knocking on doors, saying, "Hey, I'm looking for work. Do you have any work for me?" And somebody would say yes or somebody would say no. And so I kept knocking. I was going and knocking on doors in this city. And I ended up knocking on a big gate that belonged to the Nigerian ambassador in Ghana, in that city called Fajara. But they weren't there that day. It was their watchman. We call them watchman, like the security guard. And he said, well, these people are looking for somebody to take care of the children, but they're not here today. Maybe you can come back tomorrow. So I came back. And so they spoke to me and I got hired. And I became a living maid who took care of the kids, but also did work for them, clean up their house and do all that stuff. So I worked for them for a long time, and because he was a Nigerian ambassador, he has a term limit. So he was supposed to stay in the Gambia for like 3.5 years, and they were supposed to ship him to another country. So after his term was over, he decided that they shipped him to Germany. They transferred him to Germany. So they wanted to bring me with them. I was young. I did not know anything. I was just going by what, I was being told. So they went and asked my parents if they could bring me with them because they wanted to give me an education. Of course, my mother and father jumped to it because they wanted to give me a better life. My mother at first was very sad, but my dad said, this is her opportunity to have an education. So they took me to Europe. I was in Germany for years. After being in Germany for years, their term was over, so they came back home to Nigeria. I was in Nigeria with them for, I think, a year or so, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I said, I want to go home. So they sent me back home. I went back home, had a little bit of reunion with my family because I hadn't seen me in so long. About 2 months later or so, I went back to the city looking for work again. And I knocked on doors again, and I knocked on this door of this woman who was working for the Peace Corps back home. And she's gone now, and I can't talk so much about it. But so she hired me, and I became another living maid. I was taking care of her children, working for her and everything. Same thing happened when she was coming back to the United States. She said to my parents, I'm going to take your child to give her an education. But nobody gave me an education. I was just, they didn't, because they said they were going to give me an education, my parents were excited, but I didn't get that education. Oh. But I don't blame them. Okay, this was all my journey. All I did was work for them. All I did was follow their rules. All I did was do what they told me to do. I did not have a voice at all. And I wasn't getting paid either. It was just more like, we're taking your daughter, we're going to give her an education, but nothing happened. But it's not their fault. It was just the way it was. I feel like now, with what I'm learning, I know that was all a stepping stone. That was a journey for me to discover who I am. Long story short, I was here with this woman for a long time. I was living in a different city. Something happened, and I can't get to it because it's a long story. Something happened where she wanted me to come to New Orleans and stay with some friends, and she was going to pick me up later. And this was the blessing of my life because the people she told me to come and stay with, this woman who brought me here, she brought me here legally. I came here with a visitor's visa. But when the visa expired, she couldn't do anything about it. So, and it's not her fault. It's just things happen, and she had a lot on her mind, in her plate, and she couldn't help me. So I was being shipped from place to place, just hiding, running away, running from immigration, basically. So I was just always scared, living in just fear because I didn't know what was going to happen to me. So the blessing was when they told me, just God's grace, go to New Orleans. I'm going to go stay with these people. I'm going to come and pick you up in a few days. I came here, and the people I was staying with, one of them was working for the civil rights movement. And the other one, his wife is a lawyer. was a lawyer. She passed away now, but was a lawyer. And she, being a lawyer, knowing the laws and the rules, she immediately, when they heard about my story, when they told me, well, you can leave if you want to, but if you want, you can stay with us and we will help you. So I stayed with them, and of course, I became their housekeeper. I took care of their children. They were able to travel. I did everything for them because I was grateful that they took me in. I was like their child, I was like their adopted child, but I did so much. I did a lot of things for them, and they were grateful for that. But her being a lawyer, she knew that she needed to turn me into the immigration officers so that they can begin my process. The process would get me legal. And that's what she did. She took me to the immigration place, and I signed everything. I turned myself in, and she got me a lawyer. That process took a long time. Took a long time for me before I was able to get that process done. but I did. And I remember the first hearing that I had going in front of a judge to explain my case. The man who was taking care of my case, he told me, he said, I have helped so many people to get their legal papers. But for you, I really, really want you to get your papers. I really, really want to help you. So he helped me. He helped me. He told me, I'm not going to guarantee anything. Anything can happen, but I will do my best to really help you. And he did. But every time I will go and meet with her, I'm so scared. And every time he calls me, I'm like so scared. It took so long. It took like 13 years before I went back home because I couldn't, my papers were not, I couldn't leave because I knew if I leave, I wouldn't come back. So the whole process took 13 years before I was able to go back home to see my family. But I remember the day he called me. I remember the day he called me because at that time I was working at the Hilton, and I had gotten off and I went home and the phone rang. This was in 2000. This was in 2000. He called me and he said, are you sitting down? I said, no. Because I was shaking like, no, I'm not sitting down. So, okay, well, to go back, when we went to the first judge, my first case was denied, that I could not, I couldn't stay here, that I should go home, that they didn't see a reason why I should stay here, that there's no reason why I could not go back home because there's no like hardship, whatever. Okay, so he appealed. So the appeal is what took a long time. So this was a process where he kept, telling me, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just going to do my best. And I say every time he will call me and update me. So one day, that day he called me and told me, are you sitting down? I said, no. And so he said to me, Binta, we won. We won. We won the appeal, and now you are legal. You can do anything you want. Oh my God. You should have heard my voice. You should have heard my scream that day. I was screaming and jumping up and down and just screaming. And even now, when I go to visit them, who's actually, my lawyer is a good friend of mine now. And each time I go to visit them, they tell that story. They say, we remember that day when we called you. But I was so happy and joyful because at that time, my father was sick. And I was praying to God. I said, God, please just let me see my father. Just let me see my dad. And as soon as he told me that we won, I immediately, like a month after, I started the process to go home. So I booked my ticket and I went home, and I was able to see my dad. My dad, who could not speak to me because of the stroke, but I was with him. I was so grateful. I was so grateful. I'll never ever forget that. And so he helped me through that. And so long story short, I came here. After that, I started working again, and I was, my first job was at the Hilton. And I was a housekeeper, and I was so proud. I was so happy because I'm not doing the babysitting anymore. And so you should have seen like the uniform, when they gave us a uniform to put, I was so proud. I put my uniform on, my housekeeper uniform, and my main tag, and walking down Canal Street,
Oh,
going to the Hilton Hotel to work. I did that for so many years, for so long. And then finally, it was just too much. And I worked at the Hilton for nearly 10 years. And finally, everybody that I was working with quit, and it was just me. It was after 9/11, the business just was not good for waitressing. And so at first I was in housekeeping, and then I transferred to waitressing. So I did housekeeping for a long time, and then waitressing for also a long time. I was also at the Hilton for a long time. So I left that, and Katrina came. Katrina came, and we had to evacuate and went to Atlanta. And then I came back and looked for a job at the Whole Foods Market as a retail team member. So that's where I was until an injury happened. And also I worked at the Hilton everywhere I work a long time. I was at the Hilton for nearly 10 years also. But injury forced me to stop. And that was what changed my life, because I couldn't work anymore. So I kept questioning myself, why is this happening to me? Why am I here? And that's when yoga found me. That's when I started to practice yoga. I was going to yoga, and this is where my heart started to open up to see the world in a different way. And this is where, long story short, this is where I met Victoria. Well, not at the yoga studio, but this is how I met Victoria. Victoria and I met at an opening of a yoga studio. This was a place where everybody, we all met. And at that time, the owner of the studio told me to bring my products, my products, because they were asking everybody to bring their businesses and bring their products to share. So I brought my products there, but we would practice yoga, and everybody was sampling each other's products, and Victoria was there. So before I left, I was talking to her, she was talking, I guess she saw something in me, and she gave me her card. And she was a massage therapist, she gave me her card. A couple of weeks later, maybe a couple of weeks or longer, I booked a massage from her. I went and got a massage from her, and I think a week or two later, she messaged me and said to me, hey, this is, I've been working on personal development for a while now, and I think I invite you to listen to this video. And this video was from Bob Proctor. And at first I didn't do it. I was like, nah. But then again, she called me to check on me again, to kind of ask me if I did. And so I didn't want to lie to her. I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I did. One weekend I was off, so I went into my room, closed the door, and I listened to the video Bob Proctor was talking about the paradigm and the stick person. And I was like, what? And he will talk, and he was talking, and he was talking, and he was explaining the difference between the subconscious mind, the mind and the subconscious mind, the difference between the mind and the subconscious mind. And I did not know anything about that. Yoga did open my heart. Yoga did open my mind to see the world a different way, but it didn't teach me about my paradigm. It didn't teach me about the fact that my thoughts control my life. The person who did that is Bob Proctor. He kind of he cracked the ceiling, and a light just went on in my head. And that was when my life changed. My life changed. So at the end of the video, Bob Proctor said, well, are you gonna click the button? Are you gonna click to take the course, or are you gonna let this pass you by? Are you? So my heart was bumping, and then I just clicked. I clicked, and I took the paradigm shift for a year with Bob Proctor. That's when everything started changing for me. And then Victoria comes back to me again and says, okay, I'm involved with this group called Noble Goldman. If you want, you can sign up for free. I mean, it's not going to cost you anything. It's just, knowledge. So I did that, and this is where I met Rini and so many other people. That some of them are not here today, but this is where and Olmeka. This is where we started going to like masterminding, that I had never heard of the word mastermind before. And this is where, I was learning about myself and so many others. Everybody's talking about Bob Proctor. This is just where, this is how my life changed. Victoria, meeting her was a divine blessing, because she changed my life through Bob Proctor. I love what Bob Proctor said. He said that the goal of a leader the goal of an effective leader is to get other people to think highly of themselves. And he did that with me. He made me realize that my body is an antenna, that I can use my mind to direct the antenna to get a better reception, that there's unlimited broadcasting. All I have to do, through which God is speaking to me, and all I have to do is just tune in and listen. And that's changed me. It changed me. And because of that, the doors have opened for me. Everyone I meet in my life, everybody that I'm working with now, through Victoria or the woman I'm in business with in the UK, they all study from Bob Proctor. This woman here, Jennifer, she's my coach. She studied from Bob Proctor. So I attracted people who studied with Bob Proctor, and I'm learning from them. And I'm continuing to learn from them, teaching me everything that I never thought I would ever learn in my life. And I'm just scratching the surface. I have so much to learn. I used to be so ashamed of myself, because I thought education, that people who go to school are the worthy ones. And if you don't go to school, you're unworthy. And so I used to really have limited thinking about myself. I used to not think of myself highly. I used to always dread going to get-togethers or parties. These people I was staying with in New Orleans who helped me, it's a huge family. They're all lawyers and judges. And every time they will have a party, I will dread to go, because the time I go, they're all talking about the education or this and that. And I'm just like sitting in my corner feeling so small, ashamed. I used to be ashamed to say I did not go to school. But you know who changed that for me? Bob Proctor changed that. He made me not be ashamed to not go to school, because school does not define me, that I can learn anything. If I have a mind, all I have to do is, all I have is to be coachable. All I need to be is to be coachable, and that everybody can learn. My yoga teacher also taught me that. My yoga teacher, when I first went to practice, he saw me come into class, because I was healing. I was in pain, and I wanted to heal my body, so I was going to practice. But he saw something in me that I never saw in myself. And he asked me if I wanted to go to teacher training. And I said, no, because I didn't think that I could do it. And so one day I asked, there was another friend teacher there, and I said, so, because the school is called Soul School. So I said to her, so Soul School means it's for the soul? Is it for my soul? Are they going to teach me about my soul? She said, yes. She said, your soul can learn anything, you know? And he just, for 3 years, I said no, 3 years, until suddenly 1 year after I visited my mother in 2019, I came back. And I went to the meeting for the that semester to go to the yoga training. So he came to me, rubbing his hands. He said, so Binta, is this going to be the year? Is this going to be the year for you to come to yoga school? I said, yes. He was so happy. He was so happy. because he saw something in me that I did not see. And because I thought I was inferior, that everybody was better than me, he changed that. And I went and I saw that I can actually do it. What made me realize that I can learn anything was when they asked us, I'm almost done, when they asked us to memorize poems. They asked us to memorize the poem. They gave us an assignment to memorize something, to memorize a poem that we're going to read in the middle of the floor. And I was like, how am I going to memorize this? So I learned to read the poem. I learned to read. It's from the Radiant Sutras, one of those poems. And sure enough, I was able to memorize that poem. And so when I memorized it, I said to myself, wow, if I can memorize this, then that means I can learn things. I'm not stupid. And that's what happened. And when I remember that day when everybody had to recite their poems, the class was more than 40 people. And I had to go in the middle of the floor to recite my poem with my heart pumping, but I did it. So I said, so the soul knows. And that's what changed for me. That is what changed for me. So I'm just very grateful, because not only about practice, the people that I listened to after that, I listened to people like Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, his voice is still speaking to me. Wallace D. Waddles, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, and Neville Goddard. Those are all people that I listen to. They don't know me. I've never met them, but their words speak to me. They open my heart. They just hear in my heart. All of you here, all of you, Rini, Victoria, Mark Santos, the people that started Noble Goldman, they're all people that touched me and changed my life. And so I'm so grateful to all of those people. So my question is, the question is, who are the people that have the biggest influence in your life? And if you want to share, you can share and we can all learn from one another. I know that Bob Proctor has touched so many people here. I already know that. So, but thank you for allowing me to share my story. I have a lot more. I didn't want to go the long way, because if I go the long way, we will be here until like 2 hours. So that's why this is just a short story of myself. So
That's
thank you.
incredible, Binta. That's an incredible story. I didn't know all that details. I know some of your story, but I had no idea. But yeah, thank you for sharing. Mo, go ahead.
Thank you.
This people say you have a story. It's like, I don't have a story. That's a story, but we're not comparing here, because it's like I was orphaned too. I mean, but I didn't grow up in Africa and had to go to the city when I was a teenager to get my, So, but it's so interesting. I love to hear that story, Binta. Thank you so much for sharing that, because the people you listed have completely reshaped my life. I mean, but here's the thing. It's like when people say, I couldn't have done this without you. You're so amazing. You're so great. I say, thank you, but you did the work. And so I always wonder, what's the difference between those who are given these opportunities and just squander them? They don't click the button. They let it pass, let things pass by, because it doesn't matter where you come from. So what is it? It's for me, my mother raised me with a very strong faith. I was raised, Roman Catholic. As I say, I'm a recovering Catholic now, but my faith, I think that is something that has really been the foundation piece of what has influenced the way I think, the way I see anything, my perspective on life. So, I mean, what do you think? Like, what makes the person who rises to the opportunity different from those who just let things pass on by?
Strong foundation, strong foundation. I was
Yeah.
raised with a very strong foundation and faith. My parents had faith that sending me away will be good for me. I also had faith that I'm being guided. I'm being guided no matter where I go. And this is where I met people that didn't know me who rise up to help me. I was being guided. I just faith.
Yeah, Okay, so it's not just me.
Yeah, no, it's not. No,
Yeah.
no, absolutely.
Yeah, that came to me when you were speaking. So I love that. That was wonderful. Thank you, Binta.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mo. And I think God, the universe, whatever you believe, is guiding you, and everything happens for a reason. So thank you, Mo. Thank you, Binta. Tamara, you're next.
No, that was a great question. Binta, what a wonderful journey. Oh my goodness. Like, that's an amazing journey. I'm just like, I have friends that have gone through immigration and had to get their papers legalized and stuff like that. And they've said the same thing when they finally get it. They're so excited and dancing around,
Yeah.
I could just feel that joy in you. That's
Yeah.
just so
Yeah.
cool. Like I'm tearing up right now.
Oh, thank you.
But
Thank you.
so my journey, most of you know my journey. Come here. I didn't have a strong faith background. I grew up in a very, tumultuous background. But what you said, that your soul knows. So even if you don't grow up in that background, you can still have that. But this is proof right here. Say hi.
Hi.
This is my granddaughter that I never thought I would have.
What is her name?
Genesis.
Hi, Genesis. Wow.
Genesis Jupiter Rose.
Jupiter.
My daughter says she's a hippie, so
Interesting. The woman who helped me her last name is Jupiter.
Oh,
Claire
wow.
Jupiter. Yep.
See, we're all connected.
Yes.
Wonderful journey. Thank you for sharing so much of that. And I'm just like so excited to be able to really know your story now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tamara. Jennifer, you're Binta's coach. Your thoughts on this? Your comment?
I was just thinking about these stories are so important to hear. Like I have a social justice background, and working with undocumented and working with the voices that don't really have a lot of a platform to speak. It reminded me of that, like listening to Binta. Oh, I'm getting really emotional. Oh my God.
Don't be, because you're gonna make me cry too now.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So it's just such testament to what's possible for people. And I'm grateful. And I know that Vince and I, we work with each other for a reason. So I'm just happy, to see, I'm just when people cross paths with me, I'm just part of their journey. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And all these people that we come across are just part of our journey. And I'm just grateful to be part of Binta's journey.
Yes.
And that's it. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. The way Jennifer and I met was totally by divine grace. I can't even tell you. It's a funny story, but we'll talk about it another time. But it's just meant to be. It's just meant to be. And she's not only my coach, she's my friend now. She's teaching me so much. She's connecting me with so many people that I never thought I'll meet before. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Binta. I mean, this is incredible. We think sometimes we take life for granted and how we get here. Sometimes when I'm complaining and I, struggling or whatever, and then I have to remember the gratitude, all the things, all the good things that had happened. We focus on the things that went wrong, instead of just the little things, this story right here, how it's like a miracle. So, you know, we started with Noble Goldman. Several of you are here. Good to see you, Edith.
Yeah, edit, yes.
Yes, so yeah, and here we are, you know, a group of women with our stories, and yeah, it's an incredible journey, Binta. Thank you for sharing. And Sandra, I'd like to hear from you.
Well, that was just absolutely incredible. And right up until you explained that Proctor was the one, I mean, that coming into that, I mean, the whole thing was incredible, but coming up to that and saying Proctor opened your eyes and that was the beginning of it, that first portion is what I really want to capture, because I work with so many immigrants and refugees and travel and culture, and that's what your story brings. People do not have any understanding of the years and years and years of struggle to come from other countries to a new country. And yes, Mo, we're both from Canada, and I understand that, but we still do. I mean, let me say it's a white privilege of just being white already. It makes it much easier. But to share that story so we can understand that it's years of being held, and yet that is not going to slow down somebody like Binta. And Binta, that's your inspiration. You definitely need to do a book, because that, with that story or the TED Talk, like Mo said, you're going to love the chat. So I suggest that gets saved. But yes, and I love this. This feels like we're back home in Coffee Chat. Look at this group.
Thank you, Sandra. You are one of the people that changed me, you know, because attending your classes also, I just stopped because I started working with Jennifer, so I wanted to concentrate on that. She's working with me about emotions and everything. And so you are one of the people that really like influenced me, and all of you, you know, most of you here have touched my heart. So I'm very, very grateful to you. Always know that you're always right here. I have so much respect for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. And look at this. We talk about this when we talk about the Women's Coffee Club last week. Each of us here, you know, we didn't know each other before, and how each one of us is touching the other person just through your stories, through your sharing. You know, Lachelle, I actually saw Lachelle in person in Las Vegas several months ago. You know, eventually we're probably going to see each other here. And Joey from the Philippines, we almost saw each other, but we didn't make it. She was in LA, and I'm in San Diego. But Joey, what are your thoughts on this?
Hi, good evening. Well, I'm happy for you, Binta. Your story is really so inspiring. I know all of us have that kind of story when we all started looking for meaning in our life. We did, actually, our family did in 2008, and it had been a beautiful journey, but it hasn't been smooth. There were bumps along the way. But what's more beautiful is sharing it with others so they too can be inspired or reassured that we're on the right track. Even if we're experiencing bumps along the way, it's okay. So for you, Binta, continue what you're doing. You still have a long way to go, more people to inspire and change lives. So good luck. And I hope that we really see each other.
I
One
know.
day.
You gotta come to New Orleans, come to the US.
I will. I'll go to the US again, either this year or next year. But next week we'll be in UK. So whoever is in the UK, hope to see you.
Thank you, Joey. You've touched my heart also, you and your children and the stories you share. You have such an incredible family, such a role model for the world.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, Joey, and 5 children, and how she homeschooled all of them. Incredible story.
Yeah.
Jessica is in Chile. And
Chile.
what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I was just thinking, it's almost, I mean, not anywhere near. It's kind of a reverse situation in that I'm, you know, I moved away. But I was thinking what a truly American story you have. And I wrote it, but I accidentally put it in the wrong place. Our country has been so divided over the last, decade or so. And so many of us are hurting in our hearts. And just to hear this story of like triumph and, triumph over obstacles, and I don't know, what I wrote was, it allows me to breathe for a minute, just like, and feel like there is hope, that good things can happen.
Yes, absolutely.
Our country used to be, this part makes me cry. Our country used to be so welcoming. It was the place where people from all over the world could find safety and safe harbor and, shelter from harm and opportunity and everything. And now it's just not like that anymore. So it's important, I think, that people like you,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Yeah.
People like you tell your story so
Yeah.
people can understand, so people can see
Thank you.
what the path was for you and things like that. So I appreciate and I thank you. I mean, it's not the same for me to move to Chile as it was for you to come from Africa to live in the United States. But I know that there are a lot of hardships when it comes to like cultural differences and just understanding, maybe we speak the same language, but it's very different. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful to be in this country and for all that made the pathway for me to be here. And this is why I'm very, very grateful. No matter what is going on, there are so many wonderful people in this country who just want to just have peace and love for everyone. And so I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, incredible stories here. Ezra, are you able to speak, or are you at work? Or Victoria? Or is it Lisa?
Sure, I can share a little bit. I did show up a little bit late. I apologize. Trying to get my camera on. I thank you for sharing your story. It's inspiring. I, of course, have not been through that similar thing, but I am first generation American on my dad's side. My dad came from Spain, and second generation on my mom's side. So I also just have a different lens. When you have a different lens from a different culture, it's broadening. I mean, I don't know. I'm moved by your experience, and I'm grateful to get to witness it and to participate in hearing and learning about all of you and our diversity. Yeah, that's all I've got.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Omeka, let's hear it from you, this drumming lady.
This drumming lady, yes. Binta, yes, it's been a beautiful, beautiful getting to know you, and yeah, definitely old souls together in the the cosmic of things. Yeah, the familiarity. Yeah, soul sister. So I salute you and I appreciate you. And yeah, that was definitely inspiring. TED Talk and all that. Yeah. And yeah, many more people for you to hear you, for you to speak to. Yeah. Whether it's from right on that couch or whatever, or out into the world, there's ways we can touch people, that you could be a yogi and have a little channel or whatever, what I'm saying? You don't go, So yeah, and thank you for your patience and love during the time when I was going through it with my hands and I was still wanting to do yoga with you. And yeah, I really appreciate it.
You are always willing to learn. You are awesome. You are
just
awesome.
becoming a caregiver and just trying to grapple with my health and stuff. But take care. Keep doing you.
Thank you. Thank you, Omega.
Binta. Hey, and I'm
Thank
gonna
you,
look and
Omega.
see what I can get. She has a collection, of
Oh,
healing salves and oils and things. So
yeah. My company name is Dream Binta. Anybody can look me up. Not to sell, but you can check me out. Thank you.
Yeah,
Dream
thank
Binta.
you. Thank you, Omega. Edith, do you want to say hi? It's good to see you.
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Sorry, I
Edith.
was late coming in, and I don't like the topic was influential people in your life, but I don't know Binta's story, even though I know her a while. So I'm not sure what I could contribute here.
It's good to say hi.
Oh, hi.
Hi, it's so
Hi,
good
everybody.
to see you.
Yeah,
Nice to see
uh,
your faces, and nice to see you faces as well.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
to see you,
You
Jen.
can watch the recording later and maybe.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I can do
Yeah.
that.
and come back next week. Next week, Deborah here will be doing a psychic reading. She has 34 years of experience. Deborah, you want to say something about that? Let's see. I don't know if she's at work or I think she cannot, she's on her phone. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, hi. I'm on my phone. My video's not working, and hopefully I'll be on my laptop next week, and I'm hoping that the video works. Um, I'm glad to have heard this today. Binta's story is such one of struggle and the unknown, and all the experiences. It's so different from my life, and I think it's the spirit, the strength that keeps one going and pursuing whatever they desire. And it's amazing the people that one meets in their journey in life, and how so many people affect your life. And it's an amazing, amazing story, Binta. And the fact that you, synchronicity of hearing that you met Bob Proctor and learned from him. I recently discovered him a few years ago and listened to some of his videos and learned from him a bit. I'm still working on my visualizations. So I'll be brief, but I will be here next week doing the psychic readings, mini psychic readings. And look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Yeah, she'll be here next week. So bring your questions. It's only about live person. She doesn't do dead people. So, but anyway, Esra, I see that you have your camera working now. So go ahead. You're muted.
Muted.
Let me see if I can unmute. Oh, I can't seem to unmute.
She's unmuted now. Oh, she's muted again.
Oops. I probably.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. That was a beautiful sharing of your story. And I believe in every story is a lesson you have to teach. So as much as you've learned from Bob Proctor and Sandra and Jennifer, like I'm very curious of the lesson you have to teach us and the lesson that you share with the people that you touch.
Yeah.
So I think it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Esra. Yeah, you're right. Everything, our struggles, our journey, they're all lessons for us. Like, what can we learn? And the gratitude, the lessons and the gratitude always. And I know Victoria is working, so
Yeah.
she's she's working. So she said she's just gonna show up and not able to
Right,
speak.
right. I'm so grateful. Yeah, she lives here, so we always see each
Yeah.
other.
So Binta, we're only 2 more minutes left here. We're at the end of the session, but it's been such an incredible meeting, listening to Binta's journey. I had no idea. Thank you, Binta, so much.
Thank you. Thank
As
you.
I said before, next week, Deborah will be doing the psychic reading. Bring your questions, come back again next week. But Binta, if you like, if you want to close this session, I just want to say my gratitude to not only Binta who share her amazing story, but all of you here on this platform. I will schedule that meeting to talk about the Women's Coffee Club for the future of the coffee club. I'll schedule it for next Friday. So pay attention to the posting. I'll come up. What time is good for you? Is it 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock? Is there any time better than others, or it's 7 o'clock okay, or 8 o'clock in the morning?
I would keep the
Same
same time as this
Same
meeting. if
time?
possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so next
there's no
Friday at
confusion.
7 o'clock Pacific, whatever time zone you're in, I will schedule that meeting then for us to discuss ideas and feedback from all of you, and how to, what new process will be taking place next year. So with that, Victoria, go ahead. I see her.
Where do I have my yay?
There's a video. Where's your face?
I managed to escape, so I'm gonna go and get a pedicure. But thank you, Binta, for presenting today, and it's good to have you ladies as well. You know my story.
I love you.
Coming to the
Yes.
States with $5 in my pocket.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for sure for America, and I became a citizen this year. So love you guys.
Love you too.
baby. Love you.
Thank you.
I
So
want to
Binta,
close. Yeah, I
go
want to
ahead.
close. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I want to close with a beautiful quote that I discovered years ago, and I kept it because it spoke to me. And it goes like this: some people come into our lives and quickly go. Some stay for a while, leaving footprints in our hearts, and we are never, ever the same. And that is my story. That is what happened to me. The journey continues. I'm just scratching the surface, but the journey continues. I have great teachers in my life. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to me. I
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
again, Binta, and thank you, everyone. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you next week. Come and bring your question for Deborah for the psychic reading. So with that, have a
Bye,
great
y'all.
day. Have a great
Thank you.
weekend. Hope to see you next week. Bye-bye, all.
For joining, Jennifer.
Everybody, take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, Rini.
Thank you.